All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning and welcome to the Regional Lead Orientation.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please drop your name and organization into the chat. Welcome, welcome. Bienvenidos a todos. Por favor, dejen sus nombres y organizaciones en el chat. Please your name on org in the chat. We'll get started in a couple minutes. Brenda will turn the interpretation on as soon as I go over how to access it. We'll turn it on. No worries. Hi, Ben. Happy to have you here. Reyes, nice to have you here. Dylan, good morning, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. Give folks a chance to sign in. Welcome, welcome. Good morning to all. Welcome. Dejen sus nombres y organizaciones en el chat. Bienvenidos a todos. Hola, Teresita. Gusto tenerla de nuevo con nosotros. Buenos días a todos. Good morning, all.
Buenos días.
You see Riverside. Nice to have you here. Welcome. We have another couple minutes. Hi, Stephen. Welcome, Work Safe. Good morning. Steph.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, happy to have you guys here. Ruth, always a pleasure.
Glad to be here.
Hi, Darren. Happy to have you here. Good morning.
Hey.
Hi. Daniela, Center for Workers' Rights. Welcome. Okay. Got a couple people rolling in. Hi, Don. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we'll give one more minute. Hi, Chuy. Buenos días. Please leave your name and org in the chat. Tu nombre y organización en el chat, por favor. Bienvenido. Renee, happy to have you back. Violet, welcome. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. For my staff, please make sure we're watching the waiting room so we let everybody in. Appreciate your guys' help and support. Okay. So I am going to review the interpretation slide. Anna coming in too. Okay. So I'm going to turn interpretation on in a couple minutes. So to access interpretation, you will need to go to the little globe on your bottom Zoom ribbon, and then you can select English or Spanish. You will need to select English or Spanish. If you're on a smartphone or tablet, you can choose the ellipses, and then you can select English or Spanish there. Voy a repasar la interpretación. Si quieren acceder a interpretación en español, tendrán que acceder a la pantalla inferior de Zoom, seleccionar el globito y ahí podrán seleccionar inglés o español. Tendrán que seleccionar uno o el otro. Si están en teléfono inteligente o tableta, pueden acceder a los tres puntitos, pueden oprimir y seleccionar inglés o español. Voy a aprender la interpretación. Nuestros intérpretes hoy son Alejandra Serrano y Brenda Tames, que han estado con nosotros en previas juntas. Se les agradece mucho su apoyo hoy para interpretación. Y déjala aprendo. Se ve que ya está prendida. ¿Pueden accederla? Nomás para asegurarme.
Sí, sí está.
Ok, perfecto. Muchas gracias, Salvador. Okay, so next slide. Okay, let's review some closed captioning. To turn on closed captioning feature, click on the show captions icon at the bottom of your Zoom window. Click the icon again to turn off closed captioning. Okay. Next slide. So questions and answers. So use the chat for general communications and the dedicated Q&A pod for questions. Select Q&A from the toolbar and enter your question into the field at the bottom of the Q&A window. Answers to all questions asked during the webinar will be compiled and then published to the CWOP webpage. Next slide. Okay, your participation means a lot for a productive and meaningful meeting. So if you can have cameras on and it's possible, we love that. We will allow you guys to mute yourselves so that you can speak. Just be mindful of any background noise, just because if there's anything that comes through that shouldn't, we're going to have to edit the recording and it might delay us being able to provide it timely. So we appreciate if you guys do that. Comments can be left in the chat. You guys are free to use reaction.
You went on mute, Cynthia.
Oh, I'm sorry. From where? Do you want me to review from the beginning? From where did I go on mute?
You can use the reaction.
Okay.
Sorry about
You can use reactions. You can respond check mark or X, and you can use thumbs up to share your 2 cents. Next slide. Okay, agenda. Let's go over the agenda. Welcome and introduction, CWOP overview, structure and roles, core reporting platform, discretionary funds and subcontracts, grant agreement and payment process, admin support and technical assistance, resources, and questions and answers. So welcome and introductions. Next slide. So this is my team. We have Jennifer Lim, Deputy Director, myself, Community Engagement Manager 2. I have Salvador Rodriguez, he's an Outreach and Education Specialist, Facilitator Extraordinaire. Vanessa, who is an Outreach and Education Specialist, great support to the CWOP project, and really a technical powerhouse, so I must say. And we have Isis Martinez, Outreach and Education Analyst, who is supporting CWOP and working hard. So Esmeralda Magaña Gordillo, she is new to our team. She's an Outreach and Education Specialist, and her focus will be supporting the RSC clinics. So soon this picture will change, but this is the last one that we had. But yeah, that's our team. So next slide. And I'll pass it over to Micah to introduce the project lead team.
Thank you, Cynthia, and welcome everyone. Welcome to our returning regional leads, and then welcome to our new regional leads for joining us today too. So we're really just glad to see you all. Know it's been a while, so appreciate all of you, your patience. I am Micah Ying, and I'm with the UC Merced Community Labor Center. We've been regional lead in the last iterations, and fortunate and have the pleasure of now playing a project support role for the regions. Also honored to be supported by our UCLA Labor Center and UC Berkeley Labor Center, who will be joining our team. And so I'd like to pass it on to Dominica and Xochitl to introduce yourselves, and then we'll pass it on to UC Berkeley, UCLA. I know Dominica's
Sorry, hi, yeah, I'm trying. But hi, my name is Dominica Lopez. I think I know a lot of you have seen me around. I'm the Assistant Coordinator of Public Programs at UC Merced Community Labor Center, but I have been part of CWOP in another aspect since around 2.0. So nice to see you all again and meet new faces.
Hi, everybody. I'm Xochitl Lopez. I am new here at the UC Merced Labor Center as of yesterday, but I will be working with you, any of you that are participating in the RSC program.
Super. And I'm Pam Egan. I direct the Labor Management Partnerships program at the UC Berkeley Labor Center. We're pretty new to CWOP, so we're going to be learning from all of you, probably more than ever. So thanks very much. We're excited to be part of the group. And I'll pass it to my colleague, Laura.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Laura Watson, and I'm the Community of Practice Coordinator for High Road Training Partnerships here at UC Berkeley Labor Center. So, as Pam mentioned, this is our first iteration of CWOP, and looking forward to working with all of you.
Hi, everyone. Good to see so many friends here. My name is Tia Kuntz, and I work at the UCLA Labor Center, where we'll be supporting regional leads in the LAOC area, San Diego, and not the Inland Empire, but Imperial County. And if you don't know me, drop a little note in the chat so that I can say hi to you. Also, we'll be working with the SoCal Black Worker Hub. Who still hasn't introduced themselves, Micah? Is that our whole team?
That's all of us. And then I
Hey.
know Jory wants to see the DR team slide once more, so
Sure.
go back a bit. And maybe Cynthia, if you want to have your team.
Yeah,
Hello.
no problem. They can go ahead. Jennifer is on, she's listening from the phone. She had a prior commitment, but me, I'm Cynthia Sandoval. For those that are new with us, I'm the Community Engagement Manager too for DIR. I'm going to go ahead and let Salvador introduce himself and the rest of my team.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, hi, my name is Salvador Rodriguez. I might have already been in contact with some of you or might have attended some of your events. I am the Outreach Education Specialist. I am a liaison with Cal OSHA in regards to heat illness prevention, and I'm happy to be here today. And I'll pass it off to Vanessa Soto, sorry.
Oh, she's in our Spanish room, so you guys might not hear her. But she is our Outreach and Education Specialist. I will pass it over to Isis Martinez so she can introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm so happy to be here and be part of CWOP and learn everything I possibly can to make your experience better than the last. But of course, I know Cynthia and Salvador have already been here and they have spoke wonders of each one of you who are returning and the new ones. We are on the same boat. I can't wait to learn way more. I'm the Outreach and Education Analyst. And thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to speaking with all of you individually.
Thank you, Isis. I'm going to pass it over to my newest staff member, Esmeralda Magaña Gordillo, so she can introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Esmeralda. I go by Esme. I am the Outreach and Education Specialist. I have actually newly transitioned from Cal OSHA. I was on their bilingual community engagement liaison team. I've actually just transitioned over this week, so I'm newly here from Cal OSHA, but I come fully prepared with all of the experience, and that's why I'm here to be able to work with all of you. I think I have met many of you throughout working with you through a lot of the different events. So you may be familiar with me. So I'm glad to be here and working with a lot of you again.
Okay. Thank you. And do want to mention that a lot of our staff, if not all have family and come from either agricultural bracero backgrounds or have had family members work in high vulnerable industries. So that's what makes this team so special, is that the same experiences that many workers have lived, our family or ourselves have lived them too. So just wanted to note that. Okay, so Micah, did you want to cover this slide for regional leads?
Yeah, so we'd like to I was so excited that there's like 40 of you. So we were like, oh, we wanted to do introductions. Like we may not get through all of it. So we'd love to maybe just go, I know there are 8 regions. So if you're the main, I guess, grantee or applicant for the regional, if you could come off camera, introduce yourself, and you could just share who's on your team. And for everyone in the chat, if you want to share, you can share. We'd love to know what you're looking forward to in the regional lead role. So maybe we'll start with the Northern region. I know I see Daniela from Center for Worker Rights. We'll do the Northern Sacramento region. We'll go to Bay Area, Central Coast, and we'll do the Valley, and then we'll go to SoCal and end up in San Diego and Imperial with Allure. So Daniela.
Yes, I'm Daniela Urban with the Center for Workers' Rights. We're based in Sacramento. This is our first time as regional lead. but we've been a part of CWOP since the first one. What are we most excited about? We are excited about the expansion into the north. So we've wanted to be able to cover the northern counties for a long time as part of CWOP, and this iteration will allow us to do that. So hopefully bringing some additional resource to the underserved rural populations in the northern area.
Right. And Danielle, are there others from your team you want to just say
Nope,
quickly who they are?
just
Nope.
me.
Okay, all right. So going to the Bay Area. I know Jora is here. Jora.
Hi, everyone. This is Jora. I have been the regional lead for the Bay Area since since pre-CWOP. And on my team is Azucena Garcia Ferro, who could just kind of like do a shout out if you want. Azucena, I know you're on your phone.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm not on the camera, but I'm excited to be here. Finally starting to up. Yay!
I know. And Stephen Knight, I believe, is also on here. He's our executive director at WorkSafe.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What an amazing group this is.
Let me see. One thing we're excited for. Last year we held a ginormous summit, and this year we are going to try to top it by doing another summit. Last year's summit was a youth listening summit. This year's summit will be inclusive of many more cohorts of people, and it is a Black-centered worker summit in the summer. Woo woo!
Thanks, Jora. So move to the Central Coast, so the Monterey Central Labor Council.
Hi, this is Francisco Rodriguez. Sorry, I'm outside library because our team is inside at another mandatory meeting that we had. But we are looking forward to working in the Central Coast. We're the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council, and we have been part of CWOP from the beginning, except that we skipped year 3, I believe. And so we're looking forward to being a lead and supporting the other organizations in the Central Coast. Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco. And we'll go to San Joaquin Valley. Dylan and your team.
Everyone, Dylan Savory. I'm the executive director of the Fresno Madera Tulare Kings Central Labor Council, 55 unions in our 4 counties. We've been part of CWOP since the beginning, and we have a large team. So we have Violet and Reyes and Norma and Ben on our team, all at a separate meeting, listening digitally. And we're excited about supporting not only our unions and our union allies, but all the nonprofits and folks doing good work with the different demographic and geographic regions that they're connected to, and really lifting up the valley as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. We'll go to LA. So Renee Sokalkosh.
Hi, everyone. I'm Renee. I'm with SoCal Kosh, based in LA, but we cover the LAOC area. We are returning. I know Eddie has been a part of this program for much longer. And one thing that we're looking forward to in the regional lead role is connecting across partners. LAOC is a very vast region. I would say Southern California is as a whole, but we have a lot of overlapping issues, both in this region and throughout the state. So excited to connect there.
All right, we'll go to Inland Empire, see Celine.
Good morning, everyone. Celine Perez. I'm the Chief of Staff with Inland Empire Labor Council. I know I have my fellow team members on, Gabriela Clatenco Martinez and Camila Williams, and our co-regional lead with UCR Labor and Community Center, Shaylinda Bernard, Zoe Caras, and Chuy Flores. And this is our second year with CWOP. At first, as regional leads, we're super excited to continue the work that we did last year and continue collaborating with our partners, but also doing some work with new partners in our region and really seeing how we can continue really facilitate building the relationships with DIR in our region, with our unions and our community partners.
Great, thanks, Celine. And we'll go, and last but not least, Alora for San Diego Imperial Region.
Is that last but not least?
Oh, sorry. No, there's Don too. Sorry. I'm going to come back to you, Don. I don't know if Laura's on. So, Don, you can go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Like we can go to San Diego. Come off camera. Good morning, everyone. Dawn Matkins with the Southern California Black Worker Hub, SoCal, that includes LA, IE, San Diego. We've been part of CWOP from the very, very beginning as regional leads. This is our second year as regional leads. And something that, well, I'll say this first. I think one thing that we're looking forward to before I introduce our, just make space for our program manager and our regional organizer, Melissa and Darren, but something I think we're looking forward to in addition to all of the organizational connections and relationships with labor, community, et cetera, I really think is being able to, one, expanding this to organize more deeply, one, and two, broaden this opportunity to other community-based organizations who may not currently be worker-centered, but allowing this to be an opportunity to invite them in to creating the opportunity to become worker-centered. So I'm super excited about that. We'll pass it to Darren or Melissa.
Hey y'all, Darren Lewis, program manager. Yup. I'll come off camera at some point, y'all. I'm getting myself together. I am so sorry. Program manager for the SoCal Black Worker Hub. What else were we saying? Because Don, you kind of covered what we're looking forward to for this iteration of CWOP. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to the skill sharing and capacity building opportunities that we can provide within our region, but also the opportunity to actually cross regions and share with other partners or other CWOP recipients as a whole. So the influx of information and the influx of skill sharing amongst each other, that's what really gets me excited and gets me going. So looking forward to that. Melissa, are you on the call?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hello, I'm the regional organizer for the SoCal Hub. I'm looking forward to continuing to represent, support, and bring to the center Black voice. I heard earlier when one of the colleagues here shared about, our family members have worked in the fields, and I think like it's so interesting for us as Black folks. It's like, yeah, our family members have been Black and have been working while Black for a long time, and there's a lot of really unique things about our experience. So I just love this opportunity to be able to bring that to the center. Thank you all.
Great, thank you. And then Alor will go to San Diego Imperial. You want to introduce yourself, Alor? Are you there?
I can go for San Diego. He might be indisposed right now. Hi, my name is Satomi Rashsigler. I'm with the UC San Diego Labor Center. We're co-regional leads with the Employee Rights Center this year. And we are excited to like build our coalition of workers and get out for both San Diego and Imperial counties to really build upon the work that has already been done and expand and really help to resource the folks in the community to continue to build their capacity to do amazing work.
Right.
And from our team, so right now Elena is on the call. She's our program assistant, and we have a few other folks, but they're not on this call right now. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Satomi. All right, so if Laura is on, he can say hello a little later. So we want to move on. Thank you all for saying hello. I know there's a lot more of you, and we're looking forward as each of the regions, we move into CWOP to get to know each of the regions a lot more. So I'm going to turn it back to Cynthia to just do a little quick overview of CWOP. I know for many of you, this is a repeat. For some of you, this is a little bit newer. So Cynthia?
Yes, before I start with this, I just want to say thank you to you guys for being our partners, for taking this journey with us, for bringing the stories from your region to our attention, because they most definitely are vital to the success of this program and definitely deserve to be heard. So thank you to everybody before I get started. So for the CWOP overview, just an overview of when the project started. So CWOP 1.0 is February 2021. So this initiative started off due to COVID. So doing COVID outreach, and then we saw there was an opportunity to expand and provide outreach on subjects such as wage theft, retaliation, paid sick leave, health and safety on the job, and compensation, workers' compensation. So we went ahead and had CWOP 2.0. We got extended. So November 2021, and then we kept going, pushing forward to CWOP 3.0, August 2022. That's actually when I started assisting with the support of this project. We moved on to CWOP 4.0. That's where I became project manager and really started to get my bearings and had the pleasure of working with a lot of you and getting to know a lot of you. So that was September 2023. And then March, now we have our last iteration, our newest iteration 5.0/6.0. So that is the history of CWOP overview. So, okay. So CWOP 5.0, 6.0 objectives. We're going to build upon lessons learned and successes achieved in previous CWOP iterations with the renewed focus on fostering an informed, safe, and healthy workplace culture across California. Our second is to conduct education on workplace rights and safety practices, ensuring that every worker has the knowledge and tools needed to protect themselves and their colleagues. The third is to inspire action and change in the workplace rights and safety practices. So shout out to Viola for that lovely mural that was in the back. That was recently unveiled. So CWOP strategic components. We have workplace protection education, language and accessibility, engagement and outreach, partnership and collaboration, which is my favorite, and 5, rural strategic engagement. Next slide. Engagement and outreach strategies. So high quality, interactive, and peer-to-peer engagements. So this will include door-to-door canvassing, phone banking, outreach at events or high traffic areas, and meetings, whether interactive, virtual, or in person. Next slide. Engagement and outreach strategies. Promotional education engagements, social media posts, PSAs, interview, other media appearance, flyers, mailers, existing communication tools, newsletters, blogs, emails. Priority topics. Workplace health and safety and hazards such as heat illness, paid sick leave, wage theft, workers' compensation, anti-retaliation protections, worker-related complaint and claim filing processes and procedures, support filing complaints for workplace noncompliance, and others identified by CBOs. High-risk industries, agriculture, car wash, food processing, including meat packing, food service, including restaurants, grocery and retail, janitorial and hospitality, warehouse and logistics, manufacturing, garment, residential care, and others as identified by CBOs. Structure and roles. So for structure and roles, we have DIR, and we are now working with UC Merced as project admin, and also working with UCLA Labor Center and also UC Berkeley Labor Centers. And here you can see on the chart the regions that they will be covering. So this is great to have the UCs on board. Very happy to have them supporting us and working with us also as partners. So this is awesome. Regions. So for regions, we have the Bay Area region, Santa Clara, San Mateo, Alameda, San Francisco, Contra Costa, Marin, Solano, Sonoma, Napa, and Mendocino. That's going to be WorkSafe. And then we have Central Coast region, which is going to be Ventura, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Monterey, San Benito, and Santa Cruz. The icon's a little small, so I can't read it, but yes, that's what they're going to be covering. LAOC region, Los Angeles and Orange. We have the Black Worker Hub, Los Angeles, Inland Empire, and San Diego. Employee Rights Center, San Diego and Imperial. Inland Empire region, Riverside, San Bernardino. Central Valley region, Kern, Tulare, Kings, Fresno, Madera, Merced, Stanislaus, and San Joaquin. And then we have the Sacramento and Northern region. So I'm going to start from the top. Alpine, Butte, Del Norte, Glen, Humboldt, Inyo, Lake, Lassen, Mariposa, Modoc, Mono, Nevada, Plumas, Shasta, Sierra, Siskiyou, Tehama, Trinity, and Tuolumne. And then we have Sacramento, Yolo, El Dorado, Placer, Yuba, Amador, and Calaveras, and Sutter. So those are our regions. And then we have a chart here. And I know the map's a little small, but we can always refer to the chart. All right, so the CWOP network. So roles within the CWOP network, we have the regional leads, which is you guys. We have activators, Activator Plus, and the Rural Strategic Engagement Clinic hosts that are known as RSE. Next slide. So the activator engages in direct outreach to workers. Outreach efforts will include the door-to-door canvassing, phone banking, outreach at events or busy locations, and interactive meetings, whether virtual or in person. Next slide. Activator Plus will perform the same tasks as activators and will take upon at least one of the following tasks. So coordination of outreach events, large and small, providing direct support to workers, conducting training for worker leaders, and providing technical assistance. Next slide. Regional lead, that's you guys. Regional leads facilitate collaboration among coalition members to address challenges and achieve outreach goals by coordinating strategies for direct outreach. Next slide. And then we have the Rural Strategic Engagement Clinic host, or RSC. They organize, establish, and host regular clinics with legal services in coordination with DIR, its divisions, and other state agencies. More information on onboarding for RSC hosts to come. Next slide. Rural Strategic Engagement Clinic hosts. This is a supplemental role. Activator Plus grantees interested in serving as Rural Strategic Engagement Clinic hosts. Organizations should express interest by no later than 4/25. Send an email to the CWOP inbox, and we have the CWOP inbox there. I can have my staff drop the inbox into the chat. Final decisions will be made on a rolling basis. DIR will request proposed staffing structure and clinic description from selected organizations, and DIR retains discretion to select organizations. Decisions will be informed by past experience with CWOP, past experience hosting clinics or large-scale outreach events, and input from regional leads and TA partners. Selected organizations will be expected to supplement their proposed Activator Plus outreach goals and additional numbers for RSC clinics. Outreach numbers will be finalized during the execution of grant agreements with DIR. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Micah, and she's going to take care of the next few slides.
All right, thanks, Cynthia. And so as Cynthia mentioned, we did a quick overview of CWOP program, but we are I think we've been part of CWOP for a while, and then also regional lead role. So, the CWOP network would not happen without all of the really important roles, the activators, Activator Plus, regional leads, and then we've added now RSE. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the regional lead role, because you all play such an important leadership role in facilitating local strategic coordination on outreach activities. And really, I think of regional leads as like the glue that holds all the CBOs together. So it's so important that you all play this role. And so as part of regional lead, some key roles include, firstly, really convening monthly coalition meetings with CBO partners who conduct outreach in your region. And so that's, really an opportunity in space to bring together partners to talk about the outreach efforts happening, coordinate, and maybe collaborate on events together, share best practices from the field, maybe even challenges, and then, of course, share really some of the success in highlights from your region. In addition, regional leads will also be holding one-on-one meetings with CBOs. And this is really like an opportunity for you all to just really connect with your partners in a more intimate space to learn about what's happening in their work, what events they're planning, and so that you get a sense of like, oh, these are all of our partners. What are they planning? There's opportunities to collaborate and bring partners together. Also, it's also an opportunity to kind of gather, if there are any needs or issues or resources. Okay, can we pause? Okay, we got it set up. Okay. Okay, so that's an opportunity for you to really just explore like what resources and support CBOs need. And then we will have quarterly statewide briefings. These are also opportunities for regional leads to participate. We encourage you to encourage your partners to participate, and they'll be scheduled. And then in addition, there will be trainings by DIR or maybe other external trainers that these are also, again, opportunities for regional leads to engage in. So next slide. And then additionally, coordination of events and CBOs, and I think this is a huge role for regional leads. You are really kind of like, you get to see kind of the bird's eye view of what's happening on the ground with partners. So there's lots of opportunities to collaborate between partners, and you may be supporting with logistics, or maybe getting DIR speakers for presentations for partner events. You may even be holding and convening your own events for partners as well. And then training, capacity building, I think this is where regional leads also play an important role in building and strengthening the local network of support for workers. I know in the past, regional leads have trained their partners, facilitated their own trainings, or they brought in external trainers to provide trainings for their SBO partners, or brought on speakers as well to really support the local work. And then lastly, not quite lastly yet, but TA, technical assistance. I know some of you have really been played a role in supporting CBOs, whether it's how do I sign up for court, or I have court issues, I can't, submit activities, or there's a worker we're supporting, we're not sure who to go to on this issue, we don't have internal support, where do we go, which partners can we refer folks to? So that's also been a key role for regional leads. Then next slide. And then communication with DIR. And so we've also, as the UC leads, we will be also scheduling meetings with regional leads occasionally to just learn from you all, hear from the ground what's happening, any challenges and issues that are coming up, anything that we need to be aware of and address and support the regions to be successful in this campaign. And so those will be scheduled shortly once contracts are executed. So I also want to kind of take this opportunity to invite Renee from CWOP, who's been, regional lead role for a while, and also Jora to share about their experiences being in the regional lead role. So Renee, and then we'll go to Jora.
Yeah, thanks for passing that over, Micah. So in previous iterations, SoCal Kosh was a regional lead in LAOC, but we also collaborated with regional leads in the Inland Empire. I know for us, it was important that we identified commonly felt issues among CBOs, both administratively, but then also on the ground when tackling health and safety. We really utilized the regional coalition meetings to do this. So when it came to quarterly invoicing, when we knew that was rolling around, we invited the UC leads to come in and kind of hold kind of an office hours type meeting to talk about finances, invoicing, but then also invite other staff that might not typically be in the regional coalition meetings. More on the ground side, we also partnered with other regional leads. I know Ruth came in during 4.0 to talk a bit about wage theft, and that was a meeting we were actually able to open up to not just organizational staff, but directly to their workers and membership as well. Again, really emphasizing the regional co-lead meeting space to be a room where we can both share experiences, but also learn new things together. During our annual Workers' Memorial Day event, we invited CWOP CBOs in LA to table at our 2024 resource fair, also having Cal OSHA participate. And lastly, as I mentioned earlier, we know that the Southern California region is vast, but also interconnected. So at the end of 4.0, we were able to culminate an artistic project led by Warehouse Worker Resource Center in person at the Riverside Arts Museum, and then also pair that with a resource fair type event in which DIR was also able to participate. I'll pass it over to George.
Thank you. I have much of the same kind of enthusiasm. In the Bay Area, we really wanted to get out of that COVID virtual space, and meet people. I think one of the hardest things was forming relationships that you hope would last, kind of spread into other areas of solidarity in your work outside of CWOP as well. And so we cultivated, had two in-person meetings, which were really awesome. My co-partner last year was Ruth Silvertop, who's on this call, and just a highlight from the last meeting, Ruth in her area, which is the Santa Clara, San Jose area, coordinated a dance. It was amazing. It was an activist dance. And so we love that. And then Ruth has been like the star attraction in each of our our meetings. Ruth had a skit. She was really scary. She played the employer. Really scary. She was great actress. So we had a skit in which and actually a lot of people came up to me after the skit and said, now I really understand what organizing is, because the skit kind of exemplifies some of the issues of organizing. So we had lots of skits. We also held a really huge summit where we kind of hyper focused on one particular demographic that was marginalized in our outreach. For last year, it was youth as workers, and we were really excited to have DAR participate. The then acting chief, now full chief, Deborah Lee attended, as well as Labor Commissioner Lilia Garcia Bauer, and we also had some city council members, two city council members, the president and one of the district council members, as well as a senator. So it was I feel like it was a really great way to bring community together. I mean, we try our best to build community. And so those are some examples of how we do that. Did I miss anything, Micah? Okay.
You're great. Thank you so much, Jora. That's great. Yes. And I think you'll see as you all get to continue this work and connect with each other, there's a lot of opportunities to share and connect with other regions. And so we really encourage that as a network to really for those of you who are new, I've had opportunities to work with many of the returning regional leads who are really great and very supportive in this role. And of course, the UCs will all really be here to support you all in your role too. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And so I will turn it back to Cynthia, who's going to talk a little bit about this discretionary funds and subcontracts in your regional leads role.
Okay, so discretionary funds and subcontracts. Next slide, thank you. Regional leads will subcontract up to $300K or 40% of funds to CBOs for discrete projects that advance CWOP objectives. Outreach to hard-to-reach populations not covered by CWOP partners in the region. Special projects and events target specific workers and industries, others as identified to fill gaps in the region. Next slide. Cord reporting platform. I'm going to go ahead and
Cynthia, sorry. Do you I know Jora I know some of the regions also did subcontracting last round, so maybe we can have Jora come back and share a little bit. I know Jora has had some experience with subcontracting.
Yeah, this was a particular area I was particularly proud of, because we in the first several CWOPs experienced a situation where there were demographics that we were missing, but CBOs that couldn't necessarily qualify for the CWOP grant for multiple different reasons, and neither could they become like a subgrantee for different CBOs. So what we did was last year advocated for small discretionary funds, and it took the entire contract period to identify and work with organizations so that you could build up their capacity to do outreach. So I think it was Don maybe who was talking about engaging with organizations who typically are in other areas, not labor. And so trying to kind of build their capacity to do that requires building really strong partnership. And so after doing that for a long time, we were able to subcontract to several organizations, and these are like small grants, like maybe 6,000, little pockets of money, but they really go a long ways in terms of assisting organizations who are just starting out. And so many of these were like, for example, we subcontracted with some clergy, some like youth outreach groups, even some environmental justice groups, because they don't typically do worker outreach, but as you know, global warming and climate justice are all coming together. And we subcontracted with abolition groups, so groups that are focused on returning citizens and the rights of returning citizens. And so these small little grants go a long way to build long-term relationships. And so now, as we're in our second year, they've already worked with us in our first iteration. They're like, we know you, I know them. And so now we're hoping to have like stronger, bigger subcontracts with them in order to like take what we did last year. We were able to, like one entity alone was able to reach out to like maybe 1,000 Black clergy in our clergy cohort, Black folks who attended churches, their congregation. So things like that, where you have folks who are interested and willing to and passionate about building community and assisting them with resourcing them basically and forming partnerships to do so. So okay, there you go. Any questions, ask me. Anything else, Micah, let me know.
Thanks, Jora. That's very helpful. So you know who to go to now if you have questions about subcontracts. Call Jora.
Okay, and I believe I'm going to have my staff member, Salvador, cover the core reporting platform.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Yeah, so hello, everyone. So for CORD, this will be the online reporting platform that we're going to be utilizing this iteration of CWOP to be able to submit monthly outreach activities, track deliverable progresses, access outreach contents, just flyers, posters, social media toolkits, and publications. We'll also access trainings and brief recordings just like this one. Will be on there as well too. And then you can refer to CORD Outreach Activity Guide. So that's what we're going to be using this time around. And for CORD reporting periods and due dates, I'm going to slow down a bit. I was told that the translator is having a bit of trouble keeping up with me. So if I go slow, just know it's because of that. So for CORD reporting periods and due dates, you're going to submit monthly outreach progress to CORD, covering the outreach activities for the previous month. Okay. Monthly reporting dues are due on the first Thursday of the month. So that's when you have to submit your monthly reporting. And the reporting will start, as you see here, August of this year. Okay. Now, grantees are encouraged to complete activities weekly to avoid falling behind. We don't want that to occur, so we would like for it to be submitted when we're asking for it, the first Thursday of each month, and again, starting in August. A reporting schedule will be provided to all the grantees. And as you see here as well too, it's subject to change pending grant agreement execution dates. Okay. So for core trainings, and again, you can see here the dates that we have. This will be for virtual trainings or review CORD functions. For all those that have not used CORD in the past, you can see here when we have the training. So for regional leads, for all of you, it'll be on Tuesday, May 13th from 10 to 12. And then we have everyone else, Activator Plus, and then we have activators as well too. And these are really more to just allow for you to be able to get comfortable with CORD if you haven't used this in the past. I believe maybe some of you might have received emails from myself, from my team, asking for your feedback as to who has to be on your CORD accounts so they have access. So if you receive an email from us, please get that information back to us as you see here on the screen. Again, an email should have been sent out to you, or we contacted you over the phone. Go ahead and reach out to us with the information from all of those individuals in your organization that should have access to a CORD account. Because once again, reporting starts, that's when this is going to be uploaded to CORD. So we want to make sure that everyone has access to this. Okay. Perfect. So I believe I'll go ahead and pass this off to Cynthia. If I did go a bit fast, or if something doesn't make sense, we have at the end, or you can also drop them in the chat questions, but I'll pass it off to Cynthia for grant agreements and payment process.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask my staff if they can drop in the chat just our request for information from any orgs so they can supply their staff's information to be added on to the new distribution list. We just want to make sure that everyone's captured. We have reached out to everyone by email and we'll be reaching out by phone for the organizations that haven't responded, but just want to make sure that everyone's captured. So soon, so we can finalize, and then everybody can make sure that they attend trainings and any orientation sessions. So thank you guys for that. So grant agreement and payment process. Next slide. So grant agreement. Finalize grant agreement process and finalize execution by June 30th, 2025. Deadline for grantees to submit agreement packets to DIR is Friday, May 2nd. I think we changed that though to May 6th, right, Micah? Give a little more time, May 6th.
Yes. Yes.
So DOB 5 p.m. So performance period 24 months starting from the date of fully executed agreement. Outreach activities count towards deliverables from the agreement execution date. Grantees receive 25% of the award in advance. No reimbursement of expenses spent outside of the grant performance period. No extensions of grant funding period or performance period. Grant agreements amended for Activator Plus awarded additional funding for RSC Clinic host role. We do want to also mention that at the around 11-12 month mark, we will be evaluating, just making sure that everyone is submitting their core reports on time, their invoices on time, and that if there have been any significant changes to your organization's staffing or anything that could have affected you, maybe having a couple late reports or maybe not submitting invoices, that we have those conversations with you so we can properly support and get you where you need to be. Okay. And did we want to take questions right now, Micah, or do we want to wait till the end? I see Dawn has her hand up.
Yeah, I think if folks, because we want to try to get through slides, if you can put it in the chat, we are collecting those information, so we'll address it. So we want to make sure we get through the slides. It's a lot, but we're almost there. We're almost there.
We're almost there, you guys. Plenty of time to answer questions, no worries. Okay, so next slide. Okay, grant agreement performance review. So something I mentioned a second ago, grantees will receive a 12-month award with an option to renew for second 12-month period, pending for more performance on deliverables and reporting. So timely reporting of outreach activities in court, progress towards deliverables, timely invoice submission, attendance at agency briefings and trainings. So we will be having registration required for the sessions and the briefings. So I would say to please ensure that as much staff as can attend those briefings and those trainings. So that's part of meeting your deliverables. Next slide. Grant agreement required documents. To fully execute grant agreements, submit required documents. Grant agreement, Exhibit A, scope of work, Exhibit B, project narrative, Exhibit C, outcomes and deliverables, Exhibit D, budget summary, Exhibit E, budget narrative, Exhibit F, grant terms and conditions, SD 204 payee data record. Well, I do know that you guys submitted those. We had some that had errors and most everyone corrected them. But if we have not received a corrected version, we will reach out to you, which I think almost everyone did submit any correction if they were necessary. And templates will be provided. Next slide. Exhibit C, outcomes and deliverables. SOW deliverables can be modified proportional to grant award amount. Provide an explanation of changes to SOW. Select up to 3 regions where 20% or more of outreach will take place. SOW deliverables template will be provided. Outreach activity type guide will be provided. I do want to note that if you are going to be conducting work in up to 3 different regions, you will need to participate in those coalition meetings. So just something to note. Next slide. Grant agreement review process. April 22nd, grant agreement packet plus templates will be emailed to grantees. May 6th, grantee submits packet to DIR. UCs are going to be the first to review those grantee outcomes and deliverables. UC sends the grantee outcomes and deliverables for corrections and resubmission if needed. DIR will review and approve. June 30th, grant agreement finalized and executed. Next slide. So this is just a snapshot of the 204 pay data record. As I mentioned, it was submitted with the application, and we'll follow up if anybody needs to provide a corrected copy. Next slide. Payment process. So to receive payment, grantees will submit invoices on a quarterly basis. Email detailed invoice deliverables and backup documentation to the CWOP invoices at dir.ca.gov inbox. So that's going to be specifically for invoices and any questions on invoices or support that might be needed. Grantee must submit the following to receive payment: detailed invoices for actual expenses approved in grantee budget from the reporting period quarter, transaction ledger report and payroll reports for all salary and benefits for invoicing period, board reports for invoice period demonstrating progress, update in the outcomes and deliverables as defined in Exhibit C. Templates will be provided. Next slide. Payment process. Grantee submits invoice to the CWOP invoice inbox. DIR reviews invoices. DIR sends grantee invoice for corrections and resubmission if needed. We will have a 10 to 15 day turnaround on that. DIR reviews and approves invoices. DIR sends invoice for processing and payment. Admin support and technical assistance.
I'll take over from here and just
Sure.
these are really great questions, guys. There's tons of questions in the chat. I hope that we're able to answer as many as we can today. And the reason I hope that is that's basically our role as the UC Labor Centers participating in this process, right? It's our job to provide answers and technical assistance. So notice we've got some office hours set up. So as you guys are getting the applications in, you can attend these virtual office hours so we can help support development or editing of deliverables and outcomes, budget and grant agreement documents. So for you guys, Tuesday, April 22nd from 10 to 12, look out for a calendar invitation. And then if you want to communicate this to our Activators Plus and our activators, they've got office hours on Wednesday. And then it says Tuesday, April 23rd. It should say Wednesday, April 23rd. And thank you. Next slide. So let's talk about the difference between the roles here of the DIR and of this UC role. So this is the Merced team, the UCLA team, and the Berkeley team who are here to provide support for you guys. The DIR is going to support with outcomes and deliverables, budget and narrative, financial reporting, and grant agreements. So if you have questions, Cynthia is your best friend. But we also are so happy to have Salvador, Vanessa, and Isis on this team to provide backup. Next slide. The UCs are also going to provide support with outcomes and deliverables. And as Cynthia said, that we're the first sort of recipients of your proposed outcomes and deliverables, any changes to the scope of work, on budget, et cetera. So we look forward to working with you and going back and forth before submitting to the DIR so that we're sure that things will be approved and run smoothly. We'll be holding those office hours. We'll be conducting workshops. We are here for you for one-on-one consultations. We're here for you to master cord reporting. And then also, we have a $250,000 printing budget for this iteration of CWOP. So if there's already some materials that you know you want to get an order of, our retaliation pamphlets were really popular last year, let me know and I can get a run ordered for you guys. So on the right-hand side, we've divvied up how we want to support the regional leads based on geography. So you see Merced, again, is going to be supporting San Joaquin and the Inland Empire, as well as the RSC, Rural Strategic Engagement Team. So Micah, Domenica, and Sochi will be your best friends. And then UC Berkeley will be supporting the Bay Area, the Central Coast, and Sacramento in Northern California. So Pam and Laura will be your best friends. And then UCLA will be supporting the SoCal Black Worker Hub, LA and OC regional leads, and then San Diego and Imperial Valley regional leads. And I will be your best friend. Next slide. So to that end, Cynthia's already made a plug for this, but it was so important. We wanted to make sure that there was a slide for it. There's been some time that's passed since applications were due. And so we want to make sure that we've got the right staffer at your org. We've got the right region, email address, phone number, the correct language, and then respond to the email and phone inquiries from the DIR team. And then if you already have a cord account, great, make sure you can get in there. And if you don't, we should do the training. I'll pause there. I'm going to pass it on to Micah to talk a little bit about our resources.
I think that's Cynthia. Cynthia's going to cover a little about DR engagement. So
Actually
Welcome,
me.
Chava. Yeah,
It's actually me. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually me.
Salvador.
No worries.
he's so good. So go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Cynthia. So, yes, as you might have all seen throughout this great presentation that we have, you've seen all these pictures of myself, my team members attending these events. We do encourage all of you to invite us to your events. As you see here, you see all of our different logos that we have, DIR, which is where you're speaking with us now. But then we also have Labor Commissioner, who they are make sure that you are getting paid your hourly wages, that all the laws are enforced for hourly wages here in California. We have CalOSHA, who protects and improves the health and safety of working men and women in California to make sure that everything's running smoothly. And then we have Division of Workers' Compensation, where we make sure that, if you get hurt at work, you have that protection, here in California. And as well, we have our sister agencies we work with as well too, EDD and ALRB as well too. So if you would like for us to attend one of your events that you're going to be hosting, here is the information of how to be able to get in contact with us. You do have to submit an outreach request form. And once you submit that information, we'll go ahead and contact you and kind of start that dialogue to see what type of event you're going to be hosting and how we can support to amplify your message with us attending your events. So last year I attended a lot of great events, and I'm really hoping that this year the exact same thing happens where we can collaborate and work with everyone this year. Next slide, please. So for the regional outreach forecasting calendar, you have to coordinate regional events. So coordinate CBO partner outreach events and collaborations, send requests in advance to DIR and divisions participating, and then support and resources needed. So again, if you want CalOSHA at one of your events, we can have CalOSHA. If you want all three of our divisions to attend, then it becomes an enterprise event, and we all attend with all of our great resources that we have to be able to educate all Californians here in California to their rights that they have. Okay, and I think we have one more slide. Yes, so here again, the regional partner contact list. We have, for some resources, FAQs that we're going to be posting on the CORD website, the RFA amendment number 4, which you can see here, again, is CORD account sign-up guide, and then the CORD outreach activity guide, and the regional outreach forecast calendar template. So again, these are just some resources for yourself to get you going for this iteration of CWOP. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Cynthia. Well, actually, I believe we have questions now. So let's see how we're going to go ahead and go about this.
Okay, so I might need some help with the facilitation part of this, and I'm going to do my best to answer everyone's questions. Whatever I might not have the answer to, please rest assured we're taking on over here behind the scenes names and questions to make sure that we get back to everyone, and these questions will be posted on the CWOP webpage. Okay, so should we use Q&A function first? Let's see.
Cynthia, I put a whole bunch in the chat, but don't feel like you have to cover them first. You can take oral questions.
Okay, let's do one and one. Okay, let's do one and one. So we have one from Dylan Savoy. Does the grant window for regional leads begin after June 30th? We were told that funding would be available at the end of this month. So we're going to be processing grants on a rolling basis with priority given to the LA region because of the wildfires. So they're going to be processed on a rolling basis. So the timeline has changed. We're doing everything on our end, but we do have a review process that we have to stick to also with DIR contracts. So that's the best update that I can give you for that. I'm going to take one question also from the chat. Let me just scroll up here. Okay. When do expenditures to deliverables begin? July 1st? Yes. So we're going to process everything like as it's coming in with those priority regions that I did review. Do these grants required documents need to match the application, or is there an opportunity for revision, especially for those like us that had our scope of work changed? Yes. So you're going to be provided an SOW template. You can provide there basically your new deliverables based upon what you were awarded, the amount you were awarded, right? And if there's anything that's slightly disproportionate, you will need to provide an explanation so we can take that into consideration. And then
Cynthia, sorry to clarify on that one, because our scope of work was hugely changed, right? You folded in two regions into one. So we can propose a large shift in what we were proposing before versus what we're proposing now.
You can put that on the SOW, and if there's a disproportionate rate, if it is disproportionate for whatever those reasons are, you can provide that in the explanation of the SOW based upon how much your ask amount was reduced. Okay. Are these required for all grantees or just regional leads? All grantees will be resubmitting SOWs because I think it's rare that anybody got the full funding amount, so everybody will need to resubmit that. I'm going to take a raised hand question. Satomi, please feel free to come off mute.
Hi, Cynthia. Thank you.
Hi, sure.
So I know there are a few of us on that are co-leads, and I noticed in the material, so I just wanted to know if DIR was planning. I know they're directly connecting with the folks that were the lead applicants as like the fiscal agents, but
Yes.
will the co-leads be included in like communications to the regional leads? And for instance, like the map that said ERC, and I'm wondering, like, since we are also supposed to be working with the community-based organizations in our regions, it would be helpful if we were listed as the co-leads.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, of course. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take another from Q&A, and then I'll go back to the chat and just make sure I'm switching off, okay? So we have another one from Dylan. We've been keeping experienced CWOP staff in place since last October, waiting for this round. A July 1st start equals 9 months of loss of funding for our reserve fund. Yeah, I definitely understand that, Dylan. But this is the best that we can do. We do have limited staff. We're doing the best that we can. And we found that offering a grant versus a contract was a much more comfortable process for everyone. So unfortunately, that's what we can offer at this point, but definitely do understand where you're coming from. So for another question from the chat, from Darren Lewis, if deliverables begin in July 2000 or June 2025 and reporting potentially beginning in August, we will be reporting for 2 months of activities. Yes. Yes, you will. Okay, and then I'm gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry, I came off. So basically whenever we got the green light for reporting, just saying August, we'll just like backlog all activity whenever deliverable starts for us.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
So yeah. And just to be clear, no deliverables should be starting before a fully executed grant agreement. So yes. Okay. So I'm going to take a question here from Eddie from the Q&A. What are some best uses of the outreach form? I'm wondering if the support can go outside of usual events and maybe joining meetings, organizations, and having to support workers on specific issues. Example, meeting to discuss hazards at a local grocery store for workers, asking DIR for training and guidance during the meeting about their complaint draft. I think it's okay to request that, Eddie. We will always check with the divisions to see their availability, and they will try their best to attend. I don't see why not. I think that's fine. I think as long as it's flagged in the request, in the comment section, and just provide as much detail as you can, we can always try to see what we can do. Okay. So Daniela, so monthly deliverable reporting, but payments only quarterly. Yes, that is correct.
So just to fold in a prior question that I had on that,
Sure.
it seems that the deliverable reports are on the first of the month, even on the Thursday. That's a really tight timing. I know in CWOP 4.0, I want to say it was the 15th, and organizations still struggle to meet that. So is there flexibility on that based in the regions, especially if the Thursday?
Yeah, I would need to discuss that with DIR, with the rest of DIR leadership. If we can make a shift to accommodate that, I can definitely try. So how about I revisit that with them and we see if we can change that. I can't make any promises, but definitely never have a problem bringing any concerns to the table. Thank you so much. Okay. And please note that my staff on the FAQ doc that we will need to be getting back to Daniela and the rest of the group on that. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going for questions from the chat because I don't have any other ones in Q&A right now. So Jora, do we submit receipts for printing to you all? Just need the protocol for our CBOs. I would say yes to this. I would say yes to this. I can check Jora and see if it's going to be necessary, but for now I'm going to say yes. If there's an opportunity, like maybe that it doesn't have to be every single receipt, but it can be like a transaction ledger amount just of everything that was spent on printing, and that's more comfortable, we can try to see if we can accommodate that, but definitely we'll check on that for you. To my staff, please note Jora's question also as something that we need to follow up with the group with. Thank you so much. And then Daniela, for printing, is it for DIR approved materials only or CBO prepared as well? I believe it's for DIR approved materials, but I can also check on if that can extend over to CBO prepared as well. Another thing for my staff to note, so we can get back to Daniela and the group on that. Eddie, would it be for tabling, speaking, and consultations? Oh, do you want to
Oh, sorry, you answered that one. Yeah, I apologize.
I did? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Okay. Could you share the link in the chat? Of course, that's our outreach request form link. I really do want you guys to be specific with your organizations in your regions that please invite us to events. You know, ideally 2 to 3 weeks is the best advance for events so that we can properly support and the divisions can check their availability. I definitely I enjoy attending events. I attend as many as I can. If not, I send staff. But do want you guys to know that we are here to support. And if we are available, we will attend. I love to show up to any event that I can. So I feel like that's part of being a good partner. And if I'm going to be your guys' partner, I should show up to your events. Okay. So let's see. Can we request local staff like the LCO deputies? Yeah, you can definitely. The more information you put in the outreach request form comments, the better for us. And when I say that, we've actually updated the form to include like additional languages that might be needed. You know, if you guys will have, attendees that speak different languages, if we can try to accommodate that, if we have staff that speak those languages, we'll send them. If you guys can let us know if you guys have interpretation available, any and all information like that is really valuable to us because that way we can better serve your communities, right? And properly support. So Ruth, we are working with Cal OSHA DIR and on the work and the Day Worker Center of Mountain View for our Worker Memorial Day event on April 28th. Cynthia, Esmeralda, and Edith have been working with us in planning. It has been great working with them. We have also had Cal OSHA Workers Comp at large events with partners in the Filipino community last year at Caras and Farm Worker in our South County. Thank you, Ruth. It's always a pleasure to support Step Forward in all organizations. That's what we aim to do. It's part of being a good partner. So thank you for that. Jora, same as Dylan. I think I answered his questions. Dawn, is the suggestion to not have any CWOP activities before? Yes, it's really not a suggestion. It's like you shouldn't be doing that if you want to go ahead and get reimbursed, right? I want to make sure that you guys are reimbursed for the activities. So that would need to happen after a fully executed contract. Thank you. And then we have Daniela. Since EDD is included as one of the partners they can attend, does that mean that we can include SDI and PFL as outreach elements and partnerships? So EDD and LARB were included because they are actually supporting the RSC, the rural strategic clinics. The focus of those clinics is to provide know your rights information and legal services with a focus on labor concerns to agricultural workers. So just to give you guys a little background on that, that's a high vulnerable population, as we all know, and there is many, right? Not just agricultures, but this specific initiative is geared towards providing in-house services from all of our divisions, EDD and ALRB. So that's the reason why their logos were included on there. But you know what? If you guys have an event that you guys would like EDD or another state sister agency to attend, we have no problem forwarding those requests over. We've done that in the past. So if you guys don't have a contact, me and my team are happy to do a warm handoff and to invite other agencies. We also love collaborating and being able to work with sister agencies. So let us know, in the request, hey, I don't have a contact for EDD. Can you possibly make contact with somebody in the area and inform them of our event? No problem. That's our job. Happy
So
to do
sorry,
that.
the second half of that is that so if we're doing a KYR on SDI and paid family leave and we want EDD to be included, would that be CWOP covered?
Well, it would be covered for what we cover, right? So, but they can definitely like co-present. We've done that before. So is that what you're asking, Daniela? Like if you have a Know Your Rights event, are you speaking about like a Know Your Rights that's like
Yeah,
hallowed that's
like
also
we do SDI and paid family leave applicants for undocumented
yeah,
workers?
you can do it. We can definitely do co-collaborations. Yeah, I'm sorry if I was confusing, but yeah, we definitely do co-collaborations on Know Your Rights. So definitely that's fine. Okay. So what do you estimate the turnaround time to be finalized agreements once all updated, adjusted SOW info submitted? Say if we submitted by May 6th for LA regions. I would need to check with DIR contracts, Don, on what the turnaround process would be. We're actually in the final stages of having them review templates so that they can be finalized. Once we go ahead and we can submit that over to them, hopefully by the end of this week, and they review, we're hoping that they can give us an answer in a more definite timeline by April 22nd. So I'll definitely provide an update on that for my staff. Please copy Don's question so we can make sure that we get back to Don and everybody else on the call. Thank you. Okay. Does anybody else want to come off mute and ask any questions? I don't have any more in the Q&A function or in the chat, or if I missed one in chat, please feel free. Let's see. We'll see, Tia. We'll see. It's okay. We're here to answer any questions for everyone. You guys can always reach out to me also. My cell phone, I will leave it in the chat for everyone. I also feel that part of being a good partner is being accessible to you all. So I want you guys to always feel comfortable reaching out to me and asking any questions that you guys may have. I will do my very best. It might take me a little bit to get the answer just because I might have to confer with a different part, of the department, but I will always do my best to be able to do that. Daniela, go right ahead.
I think Eddie was first, actually.
Okay, Eddie, go right ahead.
Just a quick, maybe like a sub question and then half a question. The sub question is I'm trying to make some plans around sub granting. Who would be the best person to ask like some very specific like technical questions to?
It would be me.
You okay?
Yeah.
And then just to kind of like the broader question that we don't have to answer here now is just like I think we're trying to think about sub granting in response to the award gaps.
Yes.
So some of that like is coming down to questions of like do we need to like adjust our scope of work to match that to be in response to that or as I'm almost making I don't want to assume anything, so that's why I'm asking stuff that I may already know, but I just
I think that that's okay, Eddie. I think the more detail that you guys provide and like, where you guys would address like that proportional reduction, I would probably use that space also on the SOW template to add any other concerns, right? And if it's questions around subcontracting and how that affects, the ratio of everything, go right ahead, and it's no problem for us to need to ask anyone and get you the information that you need.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Ben. We try to do our best. We know that the process hasn't been ideal, but just know we're doing the best that we can on our end. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the trust, and our door is always open. Our door is always open for all of you. And, you guys can call me anytime. I have no problem making sure that you guys are taken care of. I see I have one other hand up.
Yeah, sorry. And I know I've asked a lot of questions, but I'm
No,
going
it's
to keep
okay.
asking them while I have you guys here, unless
Yeah,
others
of
have questions.
course.
And Pam from UC Berkeley reached out, so I'll follow up directly with our UC partner. But I think I'd like to know more about how you envision the regional lead in relationship to the Activator Plus and Activator roles. Are we going to be able to see what scope of work that they're doing in order to, before we propose our scope of work, to see where the gaps remain? I know we've talked to a lot of the Sacramento partner orgs about what they propose, but some of them had their scopes changed. So trying to figure out, okay, where do the gaps still lie? What are they proposing to do? And then especially with the Activator Plus role, where at least talking to some of my partners across the state, some folks are preparing industry specific trainings or opportunities. Others are proposing topic related ones and understanding what's already being done versus what needs to be done in the community. I think that that's where I have the biggest question, like we had proposed doing wage theft work, but are others doing that already? So can we cut that from ours now that we need to accommodate a larger region? So yeah, can you talk about all of that?
I will probably need to get more information on if I'm able to share that, just because I don't know if I am or not, but I do see the value in that. Totally makes sense in your question. If you can leave that in the chat for me, Daniela, I just want to make sure that I know, but I need to be making sure that, I want to make a faux pas somewhere. I want to make sure that if I'm able to do something and provide something to you guys, that's okay. So I might need to just check on it, but I do definitely understand what the ask is, because on your guys' side, I would probably not want to be duplicating efforts somewhere, since you are like in charge of a bigger territory now. I would say just give me a little time to get you that answer. It won't take forever, but if you could kindly detail it in the chat, that way I ask it specific to your concerns, that would be awesome.
I'll probably outline some of the questions that I have around that and put it in an email. Yeah, I can do that.
Please do. Please do. I want to make sure that we answer specific to that. Okay, so let's see. I have from Jora. Just to know for WorkSafe, only that the granting period is starting just as we enter a period of outreach lull in the winter. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'll just talk about it. I know we're reorganizing. We got a whole new bunch of new kind of like people taking care of things. So just a note for next year, because in order to do the summer outreach, so we thought we might start in January, then we thought May, now we're June. In order to do the outreach, you have to prep for it. So the ironic thing is that we this whole time, have had to prep for the outreach that we do in June. We want to be in May. Now it's pushed back. And then once we get the contract, we'll do some outreach, but then we're going to enter the winter, and there's no outreach in the winter and fall. It's just kind of like a lull. And so if it's possible next year, I don't even know how it's possible, or the next iteration, but if it's possible to do all this stuff, where you're having to do review during the lull, that would be great, because then we can spend the time that we need to, because actually for WorkSafe, we just can't stop. Like if we stop, then when June rolls around, we can't do outreach because we didn't do the necessary steps to get to that, to build.
I understand. The only thing is, George, is that we are going to be measuring if deliverables have been met and everything at the 1 year mark. That's something that we have to do to see for year 2 funding. So that's what we're going to have to do, because if we're starting, like, let's say ideally like July, August, September, October, November, that's only 5 months in. So we would need an accurate picture, and we need to get close to that 1 year mark. Maybe at the 11th month, I think would be okay. But unfortunately, that's what we have to stick to. Okay, and for outreach worker safety in Sacramento, we don't do outside outreach in the hottest months. If we can invite it, yes, Daniela, definitely. I understand that. So Gabriela Klatenko, will there be a word limit for the SOW similar to the application? It's 300 words for that actual question. So yes, there is a word limit of 300. So I'm just going to answer that in the chat. Okay. Stephen, our CBOs are expected on a similar June 30 contract completion timeline, or will they be later? No, I believe everybody is going to be for June 30th. Don Markins. So 1 year marks will run July to July. Yes. And it should the process should be facilitated if all deliverables are being met, reporting is done in a timely process, invoice information is submitted timely. I don't think that there should be a problem if everybody is doing their part to meet deliverables. I think part of the key to that is if there is a problem that is occurring, please reach out to us sooner rather than later. We will be monitoring, and if we have any reports that are like 2 months late, or let's say at the quarterly mark, we're not receiving the invoices that we need, we will reach out. We will reach out to make sure that we can have conversations to see if maybe there was a special circumstance, maybe change in staffing, maybe change in outreach strategy that we can help you guys through so you guys can meet those deliverables. And the decision for year 2 funding can be made even easier. So the key is just please keep open communication with us. Let us know of any issues that are arising in your regions or with your CBOs. And we're also going to drive that specific fact home in our other orientations this week. Does anyone have any other questions?
I have my hand up. I just want to elaborate on this timing a little bit. Thanks, Cynthia. Thank you to the entire DIR, the UC teams for all of this today. Do we, I'm going to ask this and I'm going to add a little bit to it. It's a little bit loaded. Let me lower my hand. Do we anticipate any more movements on the dates? And here's why I'm asking, right? Like what's dope about this program is that for most of us who are already very, very much like worker-centered, right? And what CWOP brings into our work, it can elevate it, enhance it, enrich it, deepen it, right? And so it is very, it's for the most part, it's I don't want to say easy, but like it's doable to integrate what we're doing with CWOP into our already standing work, right? And so, but because it's so dope and amazing, like we create richer and just bigger opportunities to bring CWOP and to elevate CWOP that not only complements our work, but might be even greater, right? And so like we've done that, right? Since last year, right? Since we, planning since last year for this, thinking that we were going to start at the top. We've already moved our launch date once. We have a launch date last Wednesday of this month on the 30th. So now we need to move our launch date again or make our launch date something else, which brings me to this point is that, to Jora's point, like a lot of us, have a general, might give or take for everyone, right? A general schedule by which we move our work, and fall is often very slow. So it's like what might have been reported as like all of our, kick-ass like activities over summer or spring, etc. Now will like really show up on our reporting for next year, really. Right. And so in addition to all the kick-ass stuff that folks will be doing at the end of this year too. And so, we're making those adjustments because the work, Darren and I talk about this often, like our work continues. And so having to potentially rethink the way in which we're integrating CWOP into our work so that we're not dependent on having to continue to readjust again and again. So that's why I'm like, are we good with this date?
So I would like to say yes to that. We're going to try our hardest to stick to the timeline. I do want to iterate that this is not just our office making the decisions. It's also DIR contracts putting grant agreements together with us. So that's why, to Daniela's question, once I provide them the pretty much templates for them to review, which they've already had a look at and provided feedback on, we're going to go for a second round of edits. Then we can kind of give a more idea. I do apologize that the dates have had to shift, but I also do want to iterate that we went to grant agreements because it was more comfortable for everyone. But with that process, there is implementation periods, and I'm going to try really hard. That's all I can say, but I can't make promises, you guys. I have to make sure that this program is launched and that it's works for you guys and also works for us in our processes. I'm really trying to stick to that. And I want to be transparent with you guys because you guys are our partners, the same way that you guys experience staffing changes, the same way that you guys experience things that come up, we also do too. And I think part of being a good partner is conveying that to you guys, right? So just know that whatever extra hours it takes, that's never a problem for me, or, the UC project admin teams, we're trying to work really hard, to make that possible and not shift that date. So whatever it is that we have to do, we will do, but I can't make a firm, solid promise on that. I can just say that I can do my best, and just know, I know that like it's hard for someone not to internalize having to shift dates and everything, but it does hit me in the heart because I know that you guys have staff that you guys want to retain. I know that you have communities that you want to serve and communities that I also care about. You know what I mean? So just know that with every move that we make, I feel it right in the heart, right with you guys. But I have to do what's best for you guys and I have to do what's best for DIR and trust. I will always take you guys into consideration and knock on whatever doors I have to and sit at whatever tables I have to try to make it feasible because I don't like seeing the timeline change either. Okay.
Cynthia, well said and received.
Thank you. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate that. So let's see. When will year 2 funding processes start? Do you mean for the review process, Daniela?
Yeah, so if this is the process just for year 1 and it's taken, no shade, but 6 months, when is the funding process going to start for year 2 so we can make sure that there's a seamless transition?
Okay, well, we can try to make it as seamless as possible, but I would probably say if we're going to be evaluating at the 1 year mark, we should probably start looking at things end of May, beginning of June. I think that's like at the 11th month, just to try to make sure we can make that seamless. That's what I would propose.
Yeah, so I'll just like back up what Dawn said that, some of the programs are based in certain months because of worker needs. And so, the things that we anticipated doing in, April, May, June, might not be complete at that time that year to review starts. And just to flag that as part of it. But also I think, trying to have that process start early to encourage that seamless transition, I think will be the most beneficial. So I'd rather start it really early, even if we have less to report to you, than have another long break between the contracts.
I don't think that there'll be a long break. I think it's just going to be an evaluation if you guys are and CBOs are meeting their deliverables. I definitely understand where you're coming from, Daniela, but that's when it will need to start. Thank you. Okay. If it's July to July, it may be really good timing to have August go December and do this application and review and contracting process. So let me see. July, August, September, October, November, December. That's at the 6-month mark. I just am not going to be able to make that work, Jora, because I have to measure at that 11th month. That's the earliest that I can do. So I'm sorry, you guys, but that's really what I have to stick to.
All right, I'm sorry too. I just don't understand.
It's okay.
The math is not working out in my head. Like I don't understand, but whatever. I understand you're working super hard, Cynthia, and I appreciate everything that you're doing. And eventually, as we do this year after year, it's gonna eventually get to a point where it all works out. So I appreciate
and I'm sorry, and trust where I can bend for you guys, I will bend. But there's some processes that are not just up to me and some timelines that I have to stick to. I can't negotiate. But I'm so sorry about that, you guys. It's just, I'm going to do the best that I can for you guys, but that's just something I can't move.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so do we have any other questions from anyone? Let's see. I can give a couple more minutes. We're at 11:33. I don't know if you guys want to take maybe a 5-minute break and then see if any other questions come up. I'm okay with that too. I know it's been kind of a long session. I'm definitely open to whatever you guys would like.
Just see Tia's comment about having the template on the SOW. Is that something that you're able to share with us now, or when's
No,
that
it's
coming?
being finalized right now. So that'll be shared on the 22nd. Yeah. DIR contracts just had another look at it this morning. So they asked for some more additional feedback and edits. So that's what we're doing, working with the UC project admins to do, so we can turn that around as soon as possible.
Quick question. With those SOW templates, because they're templates, do we need to look at I mean, we will, right? I imagine every organization will look at their own adjustments based on
Yes.
the shift of
Uh-huh.
resources provided. Is that something that DIR is doing in the template, like giving the examples of if your application initially provided deliverables based on this amount, right, and now it's reduced by this amount, then here's an example of what a reduction of deliverables will look like. Is that included in the template?
I believe in the template as it stands right now. We have a question dedicated to, you know, a proportionate reduction of deliverables in terms of what you were awarded. And I can check with Micah and the team to see if it would be possible to provide an example of what that would look like. I would say if your awarding amount that you requested, like let's say that it was reduced by 25%, you would probably want to, look at your deliverables and reduce it proportionately with that. Now, with that being said, if there is a need to reduce further than that, we would ask for you to go ahead and fill out that section of why, because you might have a really good reason. And so then we can go ahead and evaluate that.
And
We will, oh, go ahead, Micah.
yeah, and Cynthia, and Pam's here too, and so I can chime in too, Dawn. So that's a great question.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, like if there is a significant shift, right? Like if you were planning to do direct support to workers and that was a big chunk of your work, but because of the reduced amount of the award, you're not going to be able to do all of that. You may be shifting, like doing more just trainings for larger groups, right? So we will provide in that scope of work template room for you to explain that, like given the circumstances, right? Share with us what's challenged. You could say, like, because of the reduced funding, we're no longer able to hire case management staff, which requires a lot of time, right? If you're doing direct support to workers and helping them navigate complaint processes. So, and then I'll have Pam. Pam can talk about the proportional component of your scope of work deliverable. So, Pam.
Yeah, and I think Cynthia, I think Cynthia hit it on the head. I think the approach was to start by looking at a proportional reduction. So reduction in the scope of deliverable, or in the amount of deliverables proportionate to the dollar amount that's been reduced, but with an opportunity to say that doesn't work for some of the reasons like those that Micah outlined, or Daniela, like you mentioned, like, okay, now we're two regions, that's a whole different ball game, right? So here's what that looks like. So an opportunity to explain and describe why what you're proposing in the updated scope looks different than a straight proportional approach. It's kind of a hybrid of those two things. And I think, based on the discussions we've had, DIR is really trying to be as flexible as possible to allow people to achieve the broad goals of the work. And at the same time, give at least some sort of starting place by things. Let's start by looking at a proportional reduction and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah, thank you, Pam. And we will have office hours next week. And so, we do recognize you're going to get the templates right away, but during office hours, we will go over some of those templates, particularly like your outreach deliverables. That's your scope of work, budget, any narrative section. So the UCs here, we're committed, like we have our split region, so we will be here to work with all of you directly, one-on-one, reviewing your scope of work. If you have questions, concerns, we'll do all of that for you. And it may take one or two rounds, but I think our goal, like Cynthia has really mentioned, is to get those contracts executed by June 30th, because the 2025 CWOP funds, those need to be encumbered by that time. And so we're on a really tight deadline. So we ask all of you to, do as much as you can. If you have questions, shoot them over to us and we'll do our best to respond and get to you all as soon as we can.
Okay, so if we don't have any more questions,
Sorry, Cynthia, I still have
yeah,
more
go ahead.
questions, but
Yeah.
this can also all be handled individually if you feel like that's more appropriate. But it seems like maybe Dawn has some of the same questions about the scope. So would that include eliminating, one of the things that we proposed in our application was a new training program with a partner that did not end up getting CWOP funded.
Mm-hmm.
So are we able to either remove that completely, not just scale down, or is there a way um, to to change it? I think this also has to do with my question that you couldn't answer about what other people got, to see if there are additional partners that we're able to work with on
Mm-hmm.
that were funded. How is how is like is that allowed? And then I think within that is um, in terms of the regional discretionary funds,
Mm-hmm.
are there additional funds? I think maybe only one organization within our region, and at least from what I've heard so far, even the statewide partners have proposed to do any work in the north, which means in order to cover that area, we would actually need to increase the deliverables in that area, but there isn't additional funds for that,
Mm-hmm.
at least that we've heard, though we asked for it in our or our application to have funds. So are there still funds available in the areas that weren't funded? Like, especially like the RSC, I know there were only 2 grants. Some of that could have been for the north. Are we still looking at additional outreach or grant opportunities for folks in the north, since there were very few, if any, applicants for that
Mm-hmm.
area, or how's that working?
At this time, no, the only recasting that we're doing is for RSC, and that opportunity was extended to the Activators Plus role because they do have a bigger capacity than activators. I would say if in your initial SOW you had plans and those are affected by the actual awarding amount that you got, you should make the proportionate reduction. I think that's a decision that you need to make as far as if you want to move forward with that, or maybe if you would like to tailor it to now fit what you've been awarded, that would be your call to make. It's going to be a SOW revision, so you can definitely have an opportunity to provide any information. And also, if you would, like us to consider something, um, if it's going to be disproportionate, maybe, please use the section to convey that. That way, we know we have a clear snapshot of what your what the situation is that your region is in. And I do want to clarify that we will get your questions answered. It's just that a lot of these decisions I don't make by myself. I have to talk to a team to make. So I
No,
just
no,
want to make sure
no
I give the
shade.
best information. You know what no worry, none taken at all. All these questions are great. And I definitely do understand where you guys are coming from. Want to provide the best clarity that I can, but that's probably what I would suggest, Daniela, to just really be specific and explain that situation.
And then is there a reason then that regional leads aren't able to apply for RSE? Because that was something that we had really wanted to do. And one of the reasons we ended up applying for regional lead was
Yeah.
one of the clinic program is essentially the same thing
Mhm.
that we had included in our regional lead application, but would have been an RSE had we been able to apply for both. So now that there's an additional opportunity to apply for that, is there a reason why
I
regional
can
leads were
check with
excluded?
I can check. I don't know if there's a particular reason. I can check. Sebastian is on vacation right now, but I can definitely bring that to the table. He should be back in a couple days, and I can check with him on that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. If we can please note that on the FAQ sheet, please, for regional leads. That way we can check with Sebastian and get an answer back to everybody. Okay, so I think I have a couple more questions. Will the contract and other pertinent information of the CBOs in the regions we represent be shared with us? I think that yes, I covered that with Daniela. I'm going to go ahead and check on that and see if that's permissible. If it is, then I have no problem with that. Let's see, Mike, what happened to the Spanish channel? Oh, okay, no, we got it back, Brenda. Thank you. If anyone has any other questions, or if you guys have questions that are like more specific, please feel free to send them into the CWOP inbox. We're going to do our best to turn around answers to you guys as soon as possible and get these posted to the CWOP website. So really encouraging any questions at all that you have, please bring them forward. There's never too many. We want to make sure that we cover all bases and we get you guys the answers that you need. So definitely open to any and all questions. Okay. All right, let's see. Thank you, Francisco. We're definitely looking forward to working with everyone as well. And we thank you guys for your patience. I do want to reiterate that part of being a good partner is making sure that you guys are taken care of as well. Part of the most important part of me trying to make 4.0 successful was trying to take out as much bureaucracy as I could, because I want you guys to feel comfortable coming forward and asking questions to me. So just want to highlight that, we are partners. And so we need to have those transparent conversations, so that I can see exactly what your needs and questions are. So do want to encourage that you guys please reach out to me. Please give me a call, send in any emails to the CWOP inbox. If my staff could drop that address into the chat, that would be great. My door is always open for you guys, and I never have a problem taking any questions to the bigger table. That's what I'm here for. And I want to make sure that you guys are properly supported. Thank you guys for attending today. We're going to start working hard on the feedback and edits that we received from DIR contracts to try to move this along. And once again, welcome. Any questions? Thank you guys for your collaboration, continued support, and partnership. Oh, Dawn, curious about my autism awareness. That's actually a background that was made available to us from the DEIA webpage. So I can probably send that to you, Dawn, if you would like to use it for this month. They send really cool ones out every month, and we love to support. So definitely a cause that's close to my heart, and that's why I use it. So thank you guys, everybody. Appreciate you all for being here. Thank you for your continued patience and collaboration once again. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and please reach out to us if anybody was missed on the distribution list. We want to make sure everyone's captured. So if you guys see double emails, for now, it's just because we want to make sure everybody's getting these important invites. We're really close to getting the list finalized, but please check your inboxes or spam boxes. We'll be making calls to anybody who hasn't answered, just to make sure that everyone's captured, okay? Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you for your partnership. Bye.
Thank you all.
Thanks.